welcome to Impact 2026, our continuing conversation where we talk about all types of things, current events, race, religion, everything you could think of. As always, I like to remind people that this is your opportunity to participate in the conversation. So please feel free, type your questions or your comments in the comment section, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, if you agree, you disagree, whatever you want to do there. It's going to pop up on the screen and we will address it. So feel free. You don't just want to hear us talk. You want to put your little 2 cents in too. As always, I like to remind people of the other offerings that we have. So on Thursdays, from at 7 o'clock on Facebook and YouTube, we have Thursday Thirst, our weekly Bible study. And that's a time where you can get together and go deep into the Bible. On Sundays at 10 o'clock, we have worship service. That's 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That's Facebook, YouTube, and in person at the address that you have on the screen. And then on Tuesdays, that's today, from 7 to 7:45, we have a time of prayer. If you are praying anytime between 7 and 7:45, you're praying with the ministry. You do not need to pray from 7 to 7:45. Just any time in between there, you can be guaranteed that you're praying with the ministry. So just a reminder to put those things out there. And just a little bit of a difference. This Sunday service will actually be at 10:30. We have a special service going on this Sunday. So instead of that 10 o'clock time that I normally tell everybody, it's 10:30. So if you are trying to participate this Sunday, 10:30, Facebook, YouTube, and in person as well. All right, I don't want to belabor the point. We're going to jump right into the topic. And so one of the things that's going on, and we've talked about this before, we're talking about kids. We're going to talk about kids and sports. Sports topic, always fun. There was a former NBA player recently who discussed the fact that he's running basketball camps and he's running, he has this whole little basketball community. And what he's been seeing in his neck of the woods and across the country is that a new phenomenon parents are doing now is that they are pausing their kids' education and making them repeat grades, specifically the 7th grade. And so what they're doing is they're acknowledging that once their kid gets to middle school, because 7th grade, you're really looking at about 11, 12-year-olds. They're saying, all right, this kid has a little bit of a basketball potential. We're going to hold them back and make them repeat the 7th grade. Has nothing to do with their academic achievement, has nothing to do with whether they can, know the course material or whatever. They're holding them back so that now they will have a better chance at development and be the older kids when it comes into playing basketball and sports. Why? Why would they do that? Well, of course, you already heard, they'll have a better chance to be older. But because of the NIL money that's going on in NCAA, so if you don't know, that's name, image, and likeness, because there's now opportunities in college for kids to make money. Families are seeing, these as opportunities to make money by letting our kids stay back. They get to qualify at an older age, which means most likely when they declare for college, they'll be 19 playing against 18 and 17-year-olds, or they'll be 19 and 20. They'll have more advantages to be able to get money in college, and the family can benefit off of it. And so that's the main thing. It has nothing to do with academics, has nothing to do with their social development. There's some pushbacks and some other things like that. And so we're going to discuss that today. Also, there's some other stuff mixed in with holding kids back for other reasons. And so we brought in Kevin to talk about it. So you kind of heard the initial opening for that one. What do you think about these parents deciding, all right, my kid's 11 years old. They look like they can ball a little bit. I'm going to make them repeat the 7th grade so that we can get a check when it's time for him and her to go to college.
As a parent, I don't like it because it takes away a little bit of the fairness as far as the way you schedule these people up, as far as grades, levels, and everything else. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like, why not? Look at how many Venezuelan parents sent their kids over here that was older and registered them at a younger age so they had better opportunity to make money. The thing of it is it's a big responsibility. Because let's say they do get this money, then what do they do with it? Mm-hmm. If you go exploit the community, some of that money should come back. So I mean, it's a loaded question to me.
Yeah. Well, one of the pushbacks, I'll say, one of the pushbacks that we had was that what it does is it devalues education. And so it makes the kids, depending on who you have some kids, they not about school. It don't matter what they do from 7th grade all the way up to 12th. They not about to learn anything. They're not about to retain anything. But then you have others who, school changes their lives and their situation. It puts them on a path and gives them some things where they think about, all right, I want to do this, I want to do that. What they said is by intentionally just holding them back, even though it has nothing to do with academics. If you have a child that is actually interested in school, it's going to devalue education for them. It's going to devalue their experience. And for an example, it just has them waste a whole year of their educational process, and your brain gets kind of stunted in the fact that you know how things are. It's just like exercising. You got to continuously exercise and push your body to grow. Just the same thing you got to do with your brain. Well, if you're taking the same classes 2 years in a row during your great educational years when your brain is growing, in 7th grade, 12, 11, 12, when the hormones is growing and your brain is growing, and you're stunting your growth, it kind of messes it up. But the main thing is they're devaluing education. What do you think about that point of it?
I look at this. For a parent that's going to think like this, let's evaluate the neighborhood that they live in and the education that's allowed to the kids. So they still get an education, because it's not going to be out in the suburbs. It's not going to be anywhere else, but they understand that, hey, sports can be a way, but education take you further. This is mainly the mindset in places where they feel like, hey, listen, man, area. It's places where they don't put that much into education in the schools because that would attract them a little bit more. So therefore, are they really being educated anyway? They're learning another lesson. And as a parent, if you can put your child in a situation, I'm pretty sure they teach them. They teach them valuable lessons that they might not even understand. But if they get that NIL deal, if they get that experience or get to be in a different environment and still have that that way of thinking, are they really being cheated out of education?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's an interesting point. And especially, again, it's a lot of people who, especially at the high school level, like that are you being cheated out of an educational foundation?
Like, listen, if we ignore the fact that look at how many lives change in a lot of these second world, let's say the Dominican Republic, Venezuela, when they send their kids over for baseball scholarships. So were they really being cheated, or they had to survive? They had to be smart enough to understand it. Listen, as a parent, don't get it twisted. I think it's wrong as a parent, to put that type of responsibility or to even play that type of move with a child. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, what areas are we really talking about? Because are they saying that? Is this the mindset across the same way in the suburbs as it would be in the inner city? Is it the same way that people that's in rural areas think as city folks? So it's a lot of parts of that is missing out. That that factor into the question. That factor into the way I think about it.
Right. We got a comment. So now, if a college player leaves school to go play pro, and they are cut from the team or realize they will not play, as long as they have eligibility, they can go back to college and play. This is definitely about getting paid.
I think that just happened with one of the rookies this year. They one of the teams cut him, and if he doesn't get picked up on waivers by another team, he got eligibility to go back and play college with an NIL deal.
Yeah, this all opened up because they started playing in college. But I'll say this: you made a very good point. But in my mind, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. In my mind, if we're in an economic situation, I'm sitting here, we are broke. We ain't got no money. I see my boy can play a little bit of ball. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me to hold your kid back an extra year and be broke an extra year if y'all really struggling, when you go ahead and send them up and get the money sooner. I've always heard about people trying to push their kids sooner to get the money than being patient. I've rarely met a person who's struggling in the struggle who's just like, well, I'm gonna be patient. I'm gonna wait an extra year and then we'll get paid. So
Yeah,
it
but
must,
that's
to me, that makes it seem like this is middle class to upper middle class people doing this, playing the game. It's not people who struggling and really need the money.
yeah. Listen, uh, and listen. Yes, you're right. But it can also be somebody that's very like. Listen, we know who and what our kids are. If we know they really not an athlete, then, hey, he good enough, but maybe against somebody younger, so they could be playing the game too.
Mm-hmm.
But it do sound more of a a privileged type of way of thinking, but I mean, like, listen, when we talk about education is wrong because look, I get what you're going. The education part is wrong,
Yeah.
but I'm like, it's just it's not unfair enough for me to think that it happened. You know, I can't make sense of it, but I understand it.
Right.
You know,
Now, now I'm gonna tell you, there's a darker side to it. I'm gonna tell you what
oh
another
boy,
NBA player said. He was like, "Look, your kid. If your kid got to pay for anything, if they're not throwing money at your kid in seventh grade, sixth grade, fifth grade, your kid ain't got no real future in the league,
oh wow,
any league. And so, are these parents all being suckers? Because if I can get you to do seventh grade over again, that means I can get you to do an extra year of AAU and double up on this money and all of these travel teams and all this stuff that I'm doing. In reality, is this somebody out? Are these people out here lying to all these parents so that they can get an extra year of paychecks before they
oh,
go
well, of course
on
they are
to
because
college?
they lied to them now, even when they the same age, saying that you're good, saying your kid good enough to play with our league, knowing that the kid's not that developed to play in that league.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
they might be like, listen, because I think they got classes. I'm not familiar with the setup, but I think they got certain classes. So you got certain teams that just play it, in a different class, right? Or no?
What
With
in
AAU.
different? Yeah, yeah, in different classes. Yeah.
Okay, so you got some kids who, they know their parents got a little money. Hey, listen, man, your boy good. Bring him on up. So I mean, it's it's a hustle, man. So like I say, are they really like? Listen, let's look at sports. Is that not what sports about? You pretty much playing with the lives of people, about entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
So the lesson, and that's why I said it depends on what we're talking about, what lesson they going. You hear about people getting screwed in the industry, because they play these games with them. Hey, listen, pause your life for a second. Hey, marry this person because it looks good for your image. So,
Right.
it's like it's a part of, let's go deep about it. What we're talking about is something that always existed. People never want to take accountability for where entertainment come from or at what cost entertainment come at. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Do you think LeBron James, some of these other players that was really good early, really had control of their lives? How many sacrifices they had to make that we don't know? How many
Right.
sacrifices that they make now that we don't know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I get it. It's a dark side, but it's like, look, we force things. Like, at what cost did it come at?
Right.
And by us watching it, by us and hey, we love these players. Are we really perpetuating the behavior?
Mm-hmm. You're right. At the end of the day, it's us. It's all the people who are fans of different sports and things like that that are pushing it along. Um, you're right
I
on
mean,
that.
yeah. I mean, look how many people died in those coliseums because people wanted to see the fight. Look at
Right.
how many boxers walk away. Oh, we love this combat, but then when they can't walk, when the speeches and it's all these things come for our lust for entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
So now do we get personal because say, oh well, you know, it's at a younger age. Listen, we want our talent younger now.
Mm-hmm.
We like college players. College is really blown up. That's why
Right.
they allow the money in there. So are we chasing now that the NIL deal is in college? It's just a matter of times before it's accepted to be in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
if I hold you back in seventh grade for an extra year, I'm only really telling you wait a year. That's the eighth grade ninth grade, because that's when the money gonna start coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, no, because you're right. Once you hit that high school, that eighth grade, ninth grade, that's when the money starts rolling in. If even before, high school, I mean college and all that, they get the deals earlier. Uh, so
Yeah, and I mean, and a lot of those players too also like they started like a lot of them had to be a lot more active on like social media.
mhm.
So they get, at a young age, they get people talking about them. Like, you look at some of these sports down like in Florida, places like California, you got, people that's in fifth grade, they got social media, they got people following them, doing whether they do their what is it, the 909s or the 707s.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so I mean you got people following these little kids that might be in fifth grade, you know, 8 years old, 7 years old. So now when they got that, a following, they got people like, I mean, like we kids really have a business at 12 if they can play sports. Like if they athletic, like always, athletes always had caught the eye of most people. So if you teach them at 7th or 8th grade this type of mindset, if they really that good, maybe they not, but that's always a hustle. But if they are, it's like, listen,
and the majority of you look, it's not hard to tell when a kid is good. The majority of these parents are lying to themselves. And the bad part, I think, for me, looking at it is you robbing your child of having a well-rounded childhood. Always look at Michael Jackson as the example, and all these Hollywood kids.
oh yeah,
Your kid, yeah, like Michael Jackson, I guarantee you, he was appreciative to Joe for stealing his childhood away, but he spent the rest of his life trying to find his childhood. He ended up dying because you doing whatever. Like, at what cost is it for your child if they don't get a well-rounded situation? Again, we know when kids are good. Most of these parents, they in their own little world, and you can tell them all day, man. Look, your kid good, but he ain't
yeah,
NBA good. He barely college good. He might be like D3 good, maybe. But according to them, they all think they go into the league. All gonna be, So I think it's
yeah.
the parents.
I mean, yeah, and that's why I said, like, listen, is this a new phenomenon?
Right.
I mean,
Now,
really, I mean, is this a new phenomenon? Because whether it's sports or anything else, a lot of times people that education should already be instilled or started at home anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Which most educations are. So the thing of it is, like, the people who had this mindset, their kids going to usually have this. They're going to be neglected one way or the other because their parent already have an angle. Their parent already have a mindset of, hey, how can I use XYZ to get what I want?
Right. Yeah. No, you're right. We got a comment. People these days are about making money, and they will do whatever they think they need to do to get paid. What about the mental health of these athletes? Yeah, that's a good one. My son is in elementary school. Every time I go to the elementary school, it'd be the Father's Day, and we all get together. Certain fathers introduce their kids who are 8, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe. They'd be like, yeah, here's my son, Jerome. He's a student athlete. Like, no, he's not.
He's an athlete.
He not even an athlete. The boy 8. He's a little kid. Like,
okay.
he ain't got nothing.
He ain't even coordinated yet.
Right. Like, what are you talking about? He can't do no extra. He is a student who one day hopes to be a student athlete. But come on, man. If you as an adult are sitting here saying that my child is a student athlete in elementary school, and that's how you want to introduce him, I think you already on the problem, dude. Like,
but listen, but that's two things on that. First, listen, student athlete. Look at the mindset of person you already talking to. They come to you, a student athlete. Like, look, first and foremost, if this is my child, this is my child. Student athlete don't have nothing to do with it. That's somebody that's already playing the game. And secondly, this when community really matters. This when the coaches really matter. Like, I put a lot more focus on the coaches because it's truly a coach responsibility to look for the best of his players. Even if that means telling them, hey, listen, I think you're a good athlete, but education is more important. Having that conversation even with the kids more than the parents, because it's really a child's choice. You're gonna be respectful. Some will be respectful and follow the way they, but they have to have an understanding so that they can, learn. Because hey, we all get it. Parents can be parents, but if you're gonna be in sports, like coaches, what make coaches special? It's not the ones that everybody, all the parents like, and because we know they're usually full of it. It's the ones that's, hey, they tough on you. It's accountability. He's gonna make sure that, hey, if you hurt, I'm not gonna play you, because you still have to be more important than this game at a certain point.
Yeah.
So even when it's going down, like, why isn't any of the conversation being pointed to the coaches? Like, hey, look, are you just about the sports, or are you really about the development of these kids? So it's a lot of blame to go around. But parents choosing, huh?
I do like that, because at the end of the day, the parents are emotional. Every parent looks at their kid, thinks they got the best looking kid, the smartest kid, the best playing kid. Coaches, no, those ain't your kids. And as much as you like them kids, you can look a little better and be like, hey man. And so the coach should be the one to be able to kind of calm the parent down so that they're not making bad decisions and doing things. So I think you're right. There's a lot of responsibility there.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, but it's just, once again, if we talk about the education part of it, listen, I'm still a bigger fan of education, because I know what it means and how important it is.
So I'm hold on, I'm gonna get you right there. I'm gonna swap to another thing. Little Johnny ain't too bright. Hopefully he can ball. Interesting. So there's another thing called academic redshirt. Now, this is not in our community as much, even though I have noticed it a couple of times. This is in other communities where they are now holding kids back, specifically boys, from starting school. So if a boy, boys are supposed to start school, well, all kids are supposed to start school in most places in the United States at 5 years old. That's when they generally are starting kindergarten and then going on. That's when most states require your child has to be in school, enrolled in kindergarten by 5 years old. Now there is a bunch of folk who are deciding they want to academic redshirt their kid and don't let them start until 6 years old, so that they can be. Some of the claims are, well, boys, they mature a little slower, so what we want to do is keep a year back so that when they get there, they'll be smarter. And then when they get older and they're in high school, my son will be 18, your son will be 17. They'll both be in high school, getting ready to graduate. But my son will get more scholarship money, maybe, because he's a year older, so he should be a year smarter, because I academically redshirted him when he was a toddler. What do you think? Because it's a similar situation. Some people are doing it for the sports. And now we have another side, another group. And again, this is not.
Okay, well, listen. If we're talking about more of an educational standpoint, as we was just talking, and we're talking about for people that's a little bit educated, then that conversation about it silly as the explanation. I'm gonna hold my child a year back because he ain't as smart, so that he can be as smart a year later. Explain it. Well, we see where he can get it from. But I mean, listen, it's stupid. Like, if your child, so are we taking sports out of this altogether? Just education?
No, it's we do the education one because it's the same hustle. It's
but this don't have nothing to do with sports at all. Just education.
Right, just education. It does for some of them too. Because it's a double hit. If they're older, if my son is older than you and y'all are both in the third grade, he's gonna be better at reading, coloring, and sports. And
like I said,
if my child is older, he's gonna always be older than the rest of the kids in class. So he's always gonna be better, whether it be sports or education. So that's
and I say, let's look at the way of thinking of it. If your way of thinking is that because I'm a year older, I'm a year better. Listen, you about as smart as you sound. Like, listen, that the logic to me don't make sense. Oh, because I'm a year older, I'm a little bit smart. If it took you a year longer to learn what I know at an earlier age, I'm gonna always be advanced. I'm gonna always be smarter than you because I learn faster than you.
Right.
So do it really make sense?
Sure.
You just hoping that now somebody else that did the same dumb thing put their kid in your class. So now you got two kids that's not as smart competing to see who's smarter.
Yeah, I think it's, and I'm gonna go to comment. Most kids' problems in school are not based on intellect. It's more about behavior. Yeah, and some of them say it's a behavior thing because if you make them a year later, then maybe they'll behave a year better because they're a little bit more mature. I don't think any of that makes sense. I think it's the same people who are scamming you on the AAU, travel team circuit. I'm gonna get an extra year. That preschool is sitting back here saying, "Well, the new thing is to keep back a year. So you keep them here for another year preschool, and I can get another year of these checks, and you start your kid late, and then they're gonna be better off later on in life." I think that what's happening, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. I think what's happening is throughout society, we got parents who are really they know how hard it
Making
is.
checks off their kids. They probably the same ones that's putting their kids on Ritalin because they are. Oh, where my kid run around? Well, what you want, a lazy kid for them to get old and be lazy?
Right.
Then you don't know what diabetes came from. It was never there before. They probably started with that Ritalin and holding back a year, so they, but I ain't pointing fingers. I don't want to sound like I'm it's an accusation, but it's like this is the mindset. Like,
well, I think it's never been easier than it is now to take advantage of people on their kids. Like you said, well, let's tell all the kids that they all the kids got ADHD now. Every kid has ADHD now. Like if you take them in, they got ADHD. So let's pump drugs into them. Make sure, or you have to go to some kind of therapy. Let's make some money like that. Or your kid can play a little bit of basketball. Let's have them do another year. Let's make some money off of that. Oh, your kid not that smart. Well, let's double them up on some preschool so we can make money off of that. I think right now, just parents are just so desperate and hungry for their kids to be great or better than them that they ain't gonna be suckers for anything.
But I mean, we talking about another issue that's a little bit deeper. It's not so much about really kids so great. It's comparison. Like, let's get out of this. We're in a day and age where comparison is everything. Oh, you got to be this means the regular. And listen, everybody doesn't develop at the same time in the same fashion. But what they can do is grow up together, so they can learn diversity. Hey, this kid ain't that smart, but he a good kid. He's a thinker. He'll get it eventually. Hey, this guy's real smart, but his interests fall off later. This is what we learned as kids. Like, I grew up with some kids that I knew I was smarter than. Some that I knew was way smarter than me. But we all learned each other and knew how to deal with each other. And as we got out in life, it taught us how to be a little bit more open with dealing with people. That's why even now you see people I don't talk to them because they ain't like listen, because you're not like somebody don't mean you should isolate yourself from them. You just got to learn who you're dealing with and deal with them accordingly. And that's what we're doing with parents now. It's like, listen, we live in a day and age where it's about, I want to set benchmarks. Hey, look at my kid on the first day of school. Everybody good, but listen, what if you don't have the money for your kid to look like that on the first day of school? Should you be embarrassed to post a picture? Because now let's look at what school is turning into. That first form of you into the real world. You got to deal with people, expectations.
Yeah.
You turn on, take away that expectation, then that money go away because it's hard to, with expectation, it's like, oh, we don't have no expectations. What do money mean? How do it advance us other than meeting other people's expectations?
Yeah. Let me hit this comment. If parents are not teaching or raising their children, another year will not help. I think that's true. You can give them 100 years. If they ain't got it, they ain't got it. And if you're not giving it to them, and if they ain't got it. But I think you hit it on the head. It's that broader community conversation. Like at the end of the day, I think instead of trying to hold kids back and separate them, it's who you grow up with. And even if you're moving from different places and all that kind of stuff, when you grow up with kids together, at some point, some kid will be smarter than you, and then you may catch up, and they may motivate you, like you said. Some may play ball better than you, and then you hit a growth spurt. But your community and you're together, and y'all can bounce off each other and grow together. And then when you get older, those people that you grew up with, that you didn't switch all grades around and do all this kind of stuff, but you grew up with, y'all gonna take care of each other in the sense of, oh, I see my homeboy, oh, he's doing something, I'm gonna support him, or he's gonna support me, or things like that. And I think that's what the parents are missing. They're so selfish in thinking about their kid that they're forgetting about their community growth and staying together.
Because it teaches different walks of life. Like, hey, listen, how many athletes grew up with people say, well, listen, I grew with this guy, he was always smart, and then he's taking care of my taxes, and that's the thing about it. Like, people got to understand, like, sports and entertainment is good, but they got to be taken care of. And if you're not educated enough to deal with it, knowing that there's other people that are is a different. But if you only raised around athletes, you're going to listen to athletes. And then that's when that mindset comes around. If you're only around scholars, you only want to listen to scholars. And then you start to forget, what this education was made or who was made to protect, So that's why I said that diversity of having people that say, hey, you ain't that smart, but you're a pretty good athlete. Like, listen, I'm cool with it. Be an athlete. Right. Hey, you're a little bit of both, but man, I'll dust you on this court, man. I think you want to stick with them books. Then hey, listen, maybe I should be a coach because I understand education. I really care about the sport. I'm just ain't as good as these other kids, Right. And then you got some people like, hey, listen, just don't pick up a ball, man. Just whatever you want to do, anybody pick with you, we got you. Just learn them books, and we'll need you later on. And I mean, coming up, that's how we seen it, or that's how I seen it.
Yeah, you got to get that reality check. Man, so look, we're at our time. It came quick. I appreciate your ideas on this. The thing I'll take away and say to any parent out there, including myself, because I got young kids, is chill out, relax. Whoever God made them to be, that's who they're going to be. And you sitting there trying to push the buttons and pull the strings, like, let them be who they're going to be. If they're going to be good at sports, it ain't nothing that you're going to do to make them be good at sports. If they got it, they got it. If they don't, they don't. If they smart, you can help them by, pushing them along and reading them by, but holding them back a year, it's not going to make them any smarter than they already would have been. Your job is just teach them how to read, teach them how to do this stuff like that, Just chill out. I think all the parents are a little too hyped. Like, calm down, relax. You don't got control like that. Like, you can't make they're not Barbie dolls. You can't make your kids do what you want to do. And so, that's my advice. I don't know. And you was right there with that. So I don't know if I don't want to put the words in your mouth. But it sounded like you was right there with it. Like, y'all got to chill out, man. Like,
you got to. Look, don't steal away the only time the kids have to be kids. Let them imagine. Let them grow, dreams. At some point, that dream, reality we shouldn't be the one doing it. If they think they're this athlete, just let them be an athlete, but don't hold them back. Don't make them smarter by holding them back a year.
Right. Hey, look.
You're
right.
Man.
You're right. Hey, listen, people out there, y'all know y'all ain't got to listen to me because y'all know my kids is young. Kev has a young adult. He has raised one. He know what he's talking about. Like, he done got to the successful level. So, look, if y'all don't believe me and take it from me, definitely better take it from him. All right, man. Look, we gotta wrap it up. We passed the time. I just want to remind people again, on Thursdays, we have Thursday, our weekly Bible study at 7. On Sundays at 10 o'clock, 10:30 this Sunday, we have worship. And then on Tuesdays at 7 to 7:45, we have a time of prayer. I want to thank everybody for your comments. Thank you for joining us, Kev, man. It's a wonderful conversation. Please feel free, everybody, to join us again. We'll be here next week, same time. All right, have a good one.